All right, thank you. Awesome. So, yeah, thanks again for meeting me. And I just wanted to bring you on and have you kind of talk about some of the benefits. I know you guys use the infrared technology. I was doing some research. You guys use the far wavelengths. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And yeah, so if you could talk a little bit kind of about the benefits, especially for someone like myself who is an endurance athlete looking to maximize specifically recovery. And I'm not sure if you guys have done any studies or have looked at how it helps increase heart rate variability, decrease resting heart rate. I know you said something about the sleep and how people that are athletes that have used it have definitely noticed benefits in the sleep. Is that correct?
That's absolutely correct. Yeah, there are a couple studies that we've worked with so far with the relaxed sauna and its far infrared technology. The specific one that in metric that we've been studying is something called oxygen saturation in
Okay.
muscle tissue. Are you familiar with SMO2?
Yes, yes, yes. That's actually something I had a VO2 test done, and they use Moxie sensors. So they put
Yes,
them on my legs, and they could measure how much muscle oxygen saturation I had during the test.
that's great. That is a test that we did. We did a full study regarding Moxie sensors on the chest, biceps, and quads. And what we did is we did a baseline of 15 minutes with the sensors on to get a baseline exactly what the oxygen saturation muscle tissue level was, which was about 50 to 55%. Then we turned the sauna on with the client in the sauna and watched the oxygen saturation in 15 minutes jump to about 79-80% in
Wow.
oxygen in all levels, bicep, chest, and quads. So we saw this pretty significant leap. And then the client then was put onto an exercise bike for 40 minutes with the sensors, Moxie sensors, still on to watch those levels obviously decrease.
Mm-hmm.
And after that, they went back into the relaxed sauna for another 15-minute session and watched them jump back up around the 70 to 80% mark. And then after that, we put them into a resting state for another 15 minutes to see what was sustained. Can we sustain those levels of oxygen? And we kept them in about a 10-point range after the 15 minutes after the sauna to see that we can actually sustain those levels post sauna session, post cycling, and have a lot of great feedback from the client as far as really solid diaphragmatic breathing.
Mm-hmm.
We had really good cardiac output readings as well. The vascular resistance was had dropped. They went in such a relaxing state to kind of parallel the parasympathetic conditions you need for a good parasympathetic state, which is obviously vascular resistance. You got to be really relaxed to get the vessels to actually relax themselves. Tidal volume, that's the study or the metric we were looking for breathing. And we're looking at the actual expansion of the lungs. How much air are they pulling in? What's the volume per breath that they're breathing in? So it was pretty impressive to see these results, because a lot of people, Parker, as you know, talk about saunas.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
they talk about infrared saunas, and what we see that's happening within this field is people kind of consolidate and jumble the terms infrared and saunas, and they think that all infrared is the same.
Yeah.
Okay, and we're kind of here to kind of shine some light to let athletes and people in the performance realm understand that not all, let's not put it that way, that each wavelength of infrared has a different physiological function.
Got it. Yeah. I
Okay.
saw that on your website as well.
Yeah, and we're kind of here to kind of share that there are some great benefits to the near infrared wavelength in red light therapy. There's incredible benefits for far infrared, and with me being kind of focused within the far infrared, our aims, our targets to explain to people why we can create dynamic shifts in circulation, number one. Okay.
Okay.
And when you create a very quality environment for circulation, oxygenation just follows suit, number one. And we also do a exceptional job at detoxification of metabolic waste.
Got it.
Okay.
So that's kind of the
So there,
benefit of the far infrared versus some of the other wavelengths.
yes, yeah,
Got it.
absolutely. And there's a couple books that we really reference highly. The one book is called Detoxify or Die by Dr. Sherry Rogers. And the other book is called No Sweat, No Sweat. And when I say no sweat twice, I say KNOW, know your sweat, know what's
Oh,
coming from your lymphatic system.
yeah.
It was written by Dr. Bill Akpinar. And they both reference a specific wavelength, Parker, of far infrared between 4 and 14 microns, or about 4,000 to 14,000 nanometers of far infrared light.
Got it.
And within that bandwidth, it has an ability to resonate at the frequency of water. And what is happening is that frequency interacts and resonates with water, that far infrared frequency, creating a dynamic shift in the structure of water. And when you create this dynamic shift in the structure of water, you can mobilize water to do pretty impressive things with allowing the transport of oxygen better throughout the body, creating a parasympathetic state, and also detoxifying the body. Water is a great protector in the body for shielding us from toxins. And when you resonate water at that specific frequency, what the relaxed sauna does, we can actually release these toxins that get encapsulated in water, mobilize them to the lymphatic system, and profusely sweat them out in about 30-minute sessions within the relaxed sauna.
Got it. And
That,
so knowing
yeah.
that, would you recommend using the sauna more after a training session as more a recovery tool? Or 'cause I know when we first talked, you also said this would be a great way to kind of warm up, get the body going. So do you see benefits using before and after, or just before, just after? I guess what
No,
would be the typical protocol?
most definitely both phases of training, or both phases of a game or a marathon triathlon. There are a lot of benefits within the 10 to 15 range for warm up, and
Okay.
there's a lot of benefits in the 20 to 30-minute range for recovery.
Got it.
And a prime example I'll give you is I designed and implemented what I call rejuvenation station for the World Strongman Games, or the official Strongman Games, in Charleston, West Virginia, in early December.
Yep.
These were world champions that came to compete in the most high level heavy lifting events that you can possibly
Yeah.
imagine. These guys could, were doing phenomenal things with stones, sandbags, all different types, circus dumbbells, things that just for the ordinary person we just can't really fathom.
I've
I'm
been a
more in.
follower of Half Thor and Ryan Shaw and some of those athletes, and yeah, I've seen what they do, and it's incredible. It's honestly mind blowing.
It's great, and personally, I am more in your camp. I'm more of an endurance runner.
Yeah.
I'm a skier. You know what I'm saying? I see more balance than just pure visceral strength that these guys have. But what kind of connects us all in the same field is, I kind of live by a phrase. I met a really powerful trainer, and they said, before you should really stretch, you should get your core temperature up.
Uh-huh.
And it's kind of a paradox, because to get your core temperature up usually requires a lot of mobility,
Yeah.
right?
Do some type
And
of
so
active exercise.
exactly. And so this sauna acts as kind of a facilitator to
Hmm.
create a very powerful passive exercise and core temperature increase at the same time within even a 15-minute session.
Got it.
Okay. Maybe, anywhere from 1 to 3 degrees, you can kind of get up there in 15 minutes, 20 minutes or so. And so when you're dealing with guys that have, number one, they're coming from Ireland, Scotland, New Zealand, Australia, Iceland. Number one, they're dealing with jet lag issues, parasympathetic issues, circadian rhythm issues. Now they're dealing with limited mobility and tightness in their bodies. Okay. And now you're asking them to lift exorbitant amount of weights in limited time of warming up.
Yeah.
Okay. So we had the guys come in and some of the ladies in the competition, and we'd have them get in there for 10, 15 minutes. We would immediately get them on some resistance bands. Okay. Simple, easy stretching. And they were noticing immediately, especially shoulder issues, back issues. They were loosening up a lot better. They were breathing a lot deeper, obviously dealing with the stress levels of competing with like 400 of the top strongmen in the country.
Yeah.
They have to find kind of their center, and there's a lot of distractions. There's not a lot of space to warm up, so we took them and worked with athletes, putting them in 15-minute cycle sessions, getting the next athlete in, simple stretching, resistance band stretching. And they were noticing that they were able to unlock their muscles a lot quicker. And then after they got done with the competition, we go in for a longer session for about 20 to 30 minutes. And something that I have found as a technique with this to get them even deeper into parasympathetic repair. And I can't remember the specific Chinese terminology. It's Feng, F-E-N-G, and I can't think of the second word that goes with it. But essentially what we're doing is we're putting a specific targeted spot of ice,
Hmm.
cold therapy on the back of the neck right below the brainstem. And we're putting them into the sauna as well. Okay. So it's not like these guys are pretty hot, they're exhausted. And
Is
when you
it
think of
Fang Fu?
sauna, yeah.
Yes.
What did you say?
Fang Fu?
Yes, that's it.
Yeah. I
That's
just
it.
Google.
Cool. Great. One of the great advantages of Google,
Yeah.
besides them listening into everything we're saying and whatnot, is being able to like pull up great resources right away. So yeah, they I would do that with them. These guys would get so relaxed right away, calm them down, get their cortisol levels dropped because it was a 3-day competition. So they were doing 2 events a day. So we had to get them calm down, relax, get them in a good state that they could sleep. Because obviously they're staying in local hotels. They're not staying at like 5-star hotels. You know what I'm saying? These are good warriors, and it's cost the arm and a leg just to get over to the
Yeah.
States from Australia and whatnot. So probably not the most comfortable bed, decent bed. So when you're outside your comfort zone, you have to use as many resources as possible to mitigate the unknown factors that you don't consider for training. And one of those is where you sleep.
Yeah.
Are people being loud in the hotel room? You know what I'm saying? Are you hearing sirens or ambulances or whatever? These are the unknown factors that have to be accounted for in training. And I know that when you go to Kona for the Ironman, you got to think about all of these kind of minute details that are just as important for your training.
That's actually interesting what you said about the warm up, because I know sometimes before, especially before a swim session, if I have time and I foam roll some of my lats, my back muscles, I notice that I activate my back muscles better. I have more length in them. I have more strength, and so I assume that using the sauna would almost amplify some of those effects. If I used it before any type of swim, bike, or run session, just getting more power and more activation out of my muscles. Um,
Most definitely.
so yeah, going forward, I'm definitely going to be implementing this, especially in the swim, because that's the one discipline that I struggle with most, and I do find it takes me the longest to warm up. Going into this.
Yes.
So no,
Yeah.
this will definitely be useful the more I use it. I'm excited to look into that. And then one more thing I wanted to ask, because I've heard that the sauna, you're kind of mentioning the sleep, helping it with sleep. How exactly, or why do you think that using the sauna before bed can help with sleep and improve sleep quality? Because that's something I've noticed as well with my use of the sauna.
Yeah. What's really interesting about our technology, and I think I've mentioned this before, and I'll kind of elaborate on it. And give me 1 second. I do need to plug in my phone
Yep.
so we stay connected.
No worries.
Um, just give me a second here. So our sauna technology really originated in Japan. Okay. I think that hopefully that charge hit the charge button with my phone. I guess we're going to find out. Okay. Um, a lot of the far infrared studies, research studies about started 60 or 70 years ago in Japan. And what's really fascinating about that is the Japanese were studying something called the onsen, which is a hot springs because there's so much volcanic activity in Japan that these hot springs are pretty prevalent everywhere.
Uh-huh.
And samurais were healing at very rapid rates for wound healing, and there were certain minerals in these rocks that seemed to have amazing properties to them. So the Japanese kind of did a study on it, and they were also studying, to kind of throw in there, they were studying sea turtles because a mother sea turtle will go up on shore, will dig a hole in the sand, lay her eggs. Sorry, real quickly. She'll lay her eggs, and then she goes back into the ocean. And the Japanese were kind of fascinated by the fact of, well, if this mother's not lying on her eggs, taking care of them like most mothers would do, is they would be a nurturing element. What is happening that causes these eggs to incubate for a long time and naturally hatch, that the baby sea turtles could just pop out of the sand and go right into the ocean, right? So they started studying these wavelengths of sunlight because far infrared is within and infrared is within the electromagnetic spectrum of sunlight.
Yep.
And they found that most wavelengths of sunlight will actually bounce and reflect off of the sand, whereas far infrared will actually absorb into the sand and absorb into the eggs to naturally help them to incubate and to hatch.
Interesting.
Okay. And what the Japanese did is they started seeing these like kind of parallels with recovery, incubation, parasympathetic repair. And in the 1960s, I believe, I could get the decade wrong, they were using ceramics to naturally generate this frequency of far infrared for premature baby incubators to keep premature babies alive.
Huh.
So that same frequency, that sunlight that generates
Yeah.
a mother, we are infrared beings, as you know. We have a signature of infrared within the far infrared spectrum, and a mother will be generating a very high capacity of far infrared light for her child while it's in the womb.
Got it.
So that what they did is they created the internal environment of the womb externally by
Yeah.
generating this frequency with a premature baby incubator in Japan.
Hmm.
And so what is the baby doing for 9 months but resting, relaxing, growing in a safe environment that allows deep sleep? And that's basically what the relaxed sauna is. It's a gigantic womb like frequency of light.
Yeah. Oh, interesting.
Kind of wild to think about that. But when we think about recovery, what is really recovery? It's nurturing. It's allowing our mind to kind of be at ease, to be
Yep.
quiet. What does a baby have to do? It's got to be calm. A baby cannot be stressed out for 9 months, or you're going to have a
Yep.
lot of issues, you know?
Definitely.
So all of our technology came from this semiconductor technology from Japan. It was adapted and it was scaled for adults. The sauna itself uses reflective fabrics to take that far infrared fabric, reflect it off the walls, and reflect it back into the body. Okay. A lot of other saunas use panels. You're putting yourself in a lot of electric frequency when you have paneling around you.
Yeah.
And so we keep our EMS very low, keep it down at your feet, and it's reflected all around your body. And I just like to make it clear, because EMFs come up all the time. There are 0 EMFs on any vital organ of the body while you're sitting in the relaxed sauna.
Yeah.
So we've got a great track record with athletes, with integrative medicine doctors, naturopaths that use this, knowing that we have a safe component to sit and recover in. And if people were really concerned about EMFs, everybody should throw their phones in the trash.
That's very true.
Including myself. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a necessary, evil, as I like to say. I like to be off, on my phone for a little bit amount of time, but as minimal as time as possible. Obviously, we got to get the word out. We got to share knowledge with each other, and this is the blessing of technology that we can get on a Zoom meeting from all across the world, and share the truth.
Yeah. No, awesome. Well, yeah, those are pretty much all the questions I have, really. How do you use it for training, and the sleep, especially, since I know pretty much the two biggest things in terms of recovery when it comes to training is sleep and nutrition. And so if this will help in any way, shape, or form with the sleep, obviously can't help with nutrition, but with the sleep, then I am, as I said, I've in my short time, I've definitely already seen benefits, and I'm excited to continue to use it, and track some of the metrics and the stress levels as well. And I know my mom, she's usually a pretty stressed out person, so it'll be interesting to see how she does with it, and the benefits it has with her daily life as well. So
cool. Just a couple tips I like to share with people.
Yeah.
It's super easy to sanitize the relaxed sauna after a session.
Yep.
And I recommend you put a nice, like, thick bath towel on the chair.
Okay.
There are some fabrics that have silver, like, woven into the towels, which is even better, because you've got kind of a natural antibacterial towel in there. And that's going to allow, when you start off, it's good to, just like you're training for a triathlon or marathon, to work yourself incrementally up.
Got it.
I don't know if I'm sure you easily sweat. Some people don't easily sweat. Okay. And their lymphatic system kind of needs a little bit of a kickstart, because we don't have a pump for the lymphatic system like we do the circulatory system. So
I find when I've been using the sauna at my health club, I found that if I go in there after I swim, so if I'm a little cool from the swim, I could be in there in 30, the sauna's at 190 degrees. They have the thermometer. I could be in there, like, for example, I was in there earlier this morning. For 25 minutes, I was in there without sweating. However, if I go in there and I was in full sweat, if I go in there after a run or a bike, or, anytime my heart rate's already a little bit elevated, I'm not cool from the pool, I'll go in there and within 5 minutes I'm sweating. So, it'd be interesting.
Yeah, I expect that within the 7 to 8 minute mark, you're going to start to perspire.
Okay.
Within 15 to 20 minutes, you're going to work up a pretty gradual sweat. And if you go in for 30 minutes, you're going to be drenched.
Okay.
And that's great. I mean, that's great. When you talk about nutrition, well, we got to get out metabolic waste, and metabolic and environmental waste as well. I think those are just as important nutritionally. If you are dealing with, let's say, for example, mold, that's a serious issue across the country and the world. People don't realize it could be in your home. It could be in your hotel room. If you're traveling, that's a serious issue in the ventilation of a hotel. So that's allowing you to immediately kind of bypass your liver and your kidneys and get these toxins out of your body. Okay. For your mother, I'm sure she's not sweating just a shot in the dark. She's not sweating like 2 or 3 times a week.
No. Yeah, probably not. Depends. In the summer she is now, because she likes to go outside and run. But now she's not running as much outside. And she's probably not sweating that much right now.
Right. So, the lymphatic system's about twice as long as the circulatory system. takes a lot more to move these fluids through, because it doesn't have a pump like the heart. So a lot of people, if they go in there for about, let's say 15 minutes, okay, and they're not sweating, they're not even like getting some beads of sweat, okay, that lymphatic system is probably a little bit stagnant, which is totally okay. They may feel like a pretty like powerful warmth, okay, and they're like, oh my gosh, I'm getting so hot. Well, that's normal. That's absolutely normal. And that's why I recommend, if you're going to go in for 15 minutes longer, just put a little bit of ice on the back of the neck just to calm you. Okay.
Yeah.
Just get the nerves to really relax, get the vagus nerve to kind of calm down, and kind of stick through it. Going for 15 minutes, good. If you can go in longer, great. If you're good at 15 minutes, that's okay. You're not going to run the triathlon or marathon in one setting.
Yeah.
Pace yourself for 7 days. Okay. Going for 15 one day, going for 17, going for 20 the next day. A prime example, my father, at the time when he started the relaxed sauna, was 74 years old. Worked out pretty considerably, a very health conscious guy, didn't sweat at 17, 20 minutes. Okay. He's like, why wasn't I sweating? I said, well, Dad, your lymphatic system may be a little clogged. You haven't been running as much. I said, go in for 22 minutes. Okay. And at 20 minutes, he was like, oh, I'm good. I'm done with the session. I said, that's fine. Go in next time for 22 minutes. Okay. Goes in for 22 minutes, gets a decent sweat. Goes in the third time. Now, these were 3 sequential days, went in for about 24, 25 minutes. He opened up, Parker. Okay. It's like the floodgates really opened up and he started sweating. Okay. Same thing I see with some of my boxers that train. Okay. First time goes in for 17, 20 minutes. Okay. Next time, boom. I mean, it looks like he did a full fight. Okay. In about 25-minute session. You will see that. And I encourage you to document that, get your camera out and be like, hey, first session, pretty good. Went in for 20, 25 minutes or however long you feel comfortable.
Yeah.
Next session, boom, you're going to be sweating pretty good. Third session, you're going to start to release all this metabolic waste that's bypassing your liver and your kidneys. And hopefully, I do expect and confidently expect your recovery times are going to significantly reduce.
Yeah.
Okay. Always get your electrolyte levels up before and after. B vitamins are great. Trace minerals are essential. I think we're made of about 85 trace minerals, so keep that in mind. Get a good trace mineral content. I've seen great results with Shilajit and getting a good quality Shilajit. Do your research about that. It's an adaptogen used a lot for chronic fatigue issues. I use it as a skier. I love it. It's great for high altitude sickness, hypoxia.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Something when you're training for swimming, I would absolutely recommend it for. And circle back around to your mother. Start her off gradually. I don't know how old your mom is. How old is she?
51.
Okay, great. Perfect age, get that towel on the chair, get her electrolyte levels up, trace mineral levels up.
Yep.
If she wants to do it pre-run, great, 10 minutes. You can wear like loose fit gym clothes or workout equipment. You don't need anything special to do the warm-up. And then if she wants to go in longer, wrap in a towel, for the longer session.
Yep.
And put her in for 15, 20 and see how she does. Ice pack on the back of the neck or a little bit of ice to cool it down. See how she does. It may not be her first time, but maybe second, third, fourth time, she will sweat. And if she loves really sweating and really getting out the toxins, she's going to feel relieved. And obviously with women and some men too, they love to make their skin glow. And I see that a lot with women, like their skin starts glowing. You know what I'm saying? And so that's just a result I've seen a lot within the sessions of using it for even the first week sessions.
Well, no, thanks again. This was very helpful, and I'm extremely excited to continue to use it. And I'll keep you updated with any findings I come across, and yeah, I'll be sending over some stats and metrics as well. So
Yeah, thank you, Parker. I'm really excited about your training. I'm kind of looking into doing a half Ironman in the
okay.
next year, so I appreciate your insights and
Yeah.
how it works for you, and best of success. Do you do real quickly? Do you do like a pre-run or a pre like training session before the big one, or how does that work?
Like before the main session or before like the main so usually not like if I'm doing like a bike or a run workout, I'll do some type of warm up on the bike or the treadmill or outside. But I haven't used, the sauna before a session before. So I'm
Okay, great,
incorporate
great.
that now, and I'm very excited to see how that changes things.
Excellent. Well, just keep me updated on the results, and more than welcome share with friends, family. I
Yep.
think people are pretty experientially based. If they see you having great results, that kind of creates like a magnet to try to understand what competitive edge are you doing to do that. And like I said, I think the biggest thing is recovery
Yep.
nowadays, and you're only as good as your recovery. Doesn't
Exactly. You can
matter if
only train as hard as you recover. Yep.
yeah.
100%.
Great.
Awesome. Well,
Cool.
thanks again, and yeah, we'll definitely be in touch.
Look forward to it.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Bye.
Bye.